Well, greetings and salutations, everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for making a little time out of your day to join us here on Lions Talk Live, morning edition. I'm going to say this. It's a great time to be a Lions fan. We're not talking about the draft. We're not talking about free agency. We're not talking about who should be fired, who should be brought in, all the things in between. We're talking about playoffs. We're talking about people getting moved around, trying to get players back healthy. We're talking about switching this scheme, that scheme, being more aggressive. You know what? We're even talking about the number one seed in all the NFC. So obviously just something that 3 years ago when this administration was brought in, when this coaching staff was hired and formulated, none of us probably saw this would happen this quickly. Probably in some wild dreams somewhere as we put our head down on maybe a Christmas Eve, we're hoping for thoughts and joys of a playoff possibility, maybe even a division title. And what do you know, just a couple years later, here we are. All right, before we get into today's video, though, I do have a couple things we have to do. Most of you guys are aware of this. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're about 80 subs away from 4,900, and obviously from there, the push is on from 5,000. If you're enjoying the videos, please consider just leaving a thumbs up. Really helps the videos out. You guys all understand how that works. Probably most of you are more familiar with YouTube than I am, so I'll leave it to your own discretion. But also, if in the upcoming year you're considering buying or selling property anywhere in the state of Michigan, give me a call, shoot me a text, 269-998-2384. Let me use my 30-plus years of service in the industry to help save you some money. And yes, I go out of my way to try to help my clients out, saving some money. Again, 269-998-2384. All right, as I suspected, the comment section might be a moving and shaking, and we're going to be talking among other topics today. Obviously, you guys know yesterday, Henon Hooker was added to the 53-man roster. Riley Patterson was cut. Now, here's what I want to dive into at least a little bit today. Why is this important to our Detroit Lions? Well, I'm just going to give you my thoughts and opinions, and you guys, by all means, jump in with your own. And to me, this means during the 21-day window, the Lions have really seen something with this kid. This late in the year, you're not, giving up a precious roster spot to bring on a third-string quarterback unless you really see something there. You'd much rather have that, extra offensive lineman, defensive lineman, cornerback, whatever it is, whatever position it's out there. They really saw a reason to keep this kid, and that needs to say something to us. That means they see that it is a paramount importance to this administration and coaching staff that this kid continue to get reps, develop, and work during the next month of the, 3 weeks of the regular season plus the postseason. However long we stay alive in the postseason, he's going to be able to get exponentially more work, more reps, more views from this staff. That also tells me this staff has seen quite a bit in the 3 weeks he's been out there. You guys need to jump in and let me know your thoughts, but I'm going to say this. This tells me they think they really have something with this kid. They think they've got some potential for a future with this kid. Now, I'm not saying they're not re-signing Goff. I'm not saying, hey, Goff isn't good. I'm not doing that whatsoever. So let me be clear. This tells me, as a coach, a former GM and such, that they think this kid could be the real McCoy, and they need to have more time looking at him and developing him to see how much farther he can grow and develop. All right, now let's turn over to the comment section as we often do here on Lions Talk Live. Mike, what do you got? Good morning. Lions fans sure are great for us these days. Yeah, it's just a great time to be a Detroit fan, isn't it? At least for the Lions. Maybe not so much the Pistons. But yes, this is rare territory for all of us, something most of us haven't seen in a generation. And you know what? It looks like we could keep things going. Minnesota this weekend, I think we got a real good chance to win this game, especially if we can continue to be aggressive on both sides of the ball. Yes, the Vikings are going to come after us. Yes, they're going to try to put some heat on Goff. Yes, they'll get home sometimes. But if we can counter that by, hitting some big plays against them, I'm hopeful that the Lions defense continues to be more and more assertive and look like the product we saw on the field last weekend. All right, Mike, what do you got? Dallas plays Miami. That's true. Philly plays the Giants, and San Fran, the Ravens. Could we move up in the playoff picture this week? I think it's a real possibility. Whether or not the Giants can continue Philly's woes, I think that would be a big question. But to your point, Is Miami capable of beating the Dallas Cowboys? I believe so. And yes, the Ravens are capable, I think, of beating the 49ers. It's going to be a big weekend no matter what. If the Lions handle their own stuff, if they go out and get that win in Minnesota, obviously we all know we get the playoff spot. We get the division title for the first time in 30 years. So we'll see where it shakes out. But by the end of this weekend, the Lions really could be in second place in the NFC. All right, Michael, what do you got? 6:30. Howdy, and Dan and Lions faithful. Merry Christmas to all. Same to you, Michael. Be safe. God bless. Go Lions. Yeah, same to you, man. And hopefully you're having a great one. Thanks for always being a part of the show, man. All right, Boo, what do you got? Good morning, do we root for the Ravens? Besides seeding, what about the possibility of a rematch? In the Super Bowl, yeah, I'd take that just because it means that we're in the Super Bowl. Something none of us have seen before. And yes, I get the Lions were the dominant team of the 50s, and you could even say part of the 40s. But I'm going to say this. It's been a long time since we've been the dominant team. So it'd be nice to be able to say, hey, we're on the cusp of doing that again. All right, Southwest, we got absolutely. We are rooting for Baltimore to beat San Francisco. We want the 49ers to have something to play for when they play the Rams the last game of the season. Yeah, I agree. That would help us out a lot. If they could knock the Rams out of the playoff picture, hey, I'd have no problem with it. Even though I get it would be a media windfall for the Rams to come to Ford Field for all the different reasons, the Goff and Stafford and all that stuff. I'll also say this, the Rams are not a team I'd want to ideally, if I had to pick in the first round of the playoffs, not a team I'd want to have to face. All right, Michael, what do you got? Greetings and salutations. If the Lions can play like they did against the Broncos, we win out and get the number 2 seed. What do you think, Coach? I think you're 100% right. I think we're fully capable of winning these last 3 games. But you got to stay assertive and aggressive. You're going to be passive like you have been the prior month, I guess you could say, before the Denver game, then I think you're going to really struggle. Maybe you could still beat the Vikings both games, but I think if you want to be a winning team, a contending team, you can't play passive. I think it just opens up too many doors for you to get got, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We just don't have those studs, those dudes, whatever you want to say, where you can come or you can just drop 7 guys in coverage and let 4 guys get after it. It's just, we don't have that. So you're going to have to mix and match. You're going to have to try to scheme your way into some pressures on the quarterback, because just like we say, hey, Goff under pressure isn't so good, that's basically every NFL quarterback. Some may be a little bit better than others, and I'm not here to debate where Goff ranks on that, but I am here to say you get after Nick Mullins or whoever in the future as a quarterback, you get them rattled. You make them have to throw it a little bit faster than they want to. You make receivers not have that much time to get open. That's usually a good thing for the defense. So I'm with you. All right, Michael, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. What do you think they see in Hooker that they signed him and cut Patterson? I think they see real talent and potential. I think they see something that they're like, we need to do everything we can to get this kid as many learning opportunities this season as possible to really have some sort of quarterback showdown next offseason. And that's just my opinion. You're not taking away one of those precious, roster spots for the rest of the regular season to put in a third string quarterback unless you have a real plan in place for what you're going to do. I think they're going to do everything they can to get that kid every opportunity to get worked with by the coaching staff, to learn the terminology, the plays, etc., to see absolutely what they have. Because I do believe this is a strong sign to me that next offseason, it is a quarterback battle in Detroit. All right, what do you got? Southwest, these last 3 games are going to be tests for both of our coordinators. I would agree with that, Southwest. For the offense, stay aggressive and protect Goff. For the defense, stay aggressive and don't vary who blitzes. Yeah. And I would say, yeah, you got to keep mixing things up. You got to keep assertive. And that's something, I know we've talked on the show for, it seems like forever now. But yeah, more assertive and aggressive teams can usually dictate the flow of the game. And I'm with you there. All right, Jerome, what do you got? Hey, Coach, it really feels good to be talking playoffs for the Lions instead of who we need to draft in order to make the playoffs. Yeah, I'm with you there, man. And I prepared at least most of it, my first mock draft last week. I've just got to go ahead and get it out there. Maybe I'll try to do it Friday since it's a slower day, probably for everybody in coaching and obviously workforce and such. So I'll try to get that out to you guys. So if you're bored, you're driving somewhere, for the holidays, you'll have something to listen to. And I'll try to extend it. I think right now I did 4 rounds, but I'll try to extend it to 7. And you guys will be able to let me know what your thoughts are on it. All right, Jeff, what do you got? Hooker moving on up. Where is Hooker time? I'm sure he'll be hopping in here with his thoughts on this, but I'm sure for him, it's good news. Dave, what do you got? Greetings and salutations, all. It's a great time to be a Lions fan. 100%. Yeah, 100%. Southwest, it was smart to add Hooker to the 53-man roster after what happened to San Francisco last year, having him available in case of emergency. And you do have a point there, because that game may have been completely different if they had anybody at quarterback for San Fran last year. All right, Just what we got? Greetings and salutations, Duke Crew. Vegas has us at 3-point favorites. Coach Dan, what are your thoughts on this weekend's game? I think Minnesota's going to be playing as inspired as they can. This is it for them. If they don't win out, I don't think they're getting into the playoffs. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they squeak in. But obviously, they have absolutely every reason to play with all the gusto they can. So we're going to get their best shots. Whether or not Mullins is the guy, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I'm going to say this. We need to make sure we do everything we can to, a younger quarterback, less experience, isn't going to read and process information quite as quickly as a veteran. We need to get after him and try to bury him. And it's no disrespect to him. It's just, hey, this is what we have to do. We have to put every ounce of fiber into getting that dude on the ground. Conversely, on offense, we're going to have to try to eliminate some of the things that the Vikings like to do. Yes, they want to try to confuse offensive linemen, Goff, etc. This is where, if you're veterans, which the Lions are, both on the offensive line and at quarterback, you need to step up and own this moment. You need to make sure that, hey, by the third quarter, this game is over. That their defense, all the different blitzes or whatever, we've schemed for them. You're going to try to do that. We're going to gash you for this. That's my opinion on that. We got Jerome. We got, good morning, Coach. Did Cam Sutton come alive? He seems to be playing lights out football. What did I miss? Man-to-man defense more than zone defense. That's where I'm going to say. He's doing better with that because he's in zone. I think after the first couple of weeks of the season, he started watching the backfield a lot. I think maybe just to try to get jump on a route or a pick or something. Why he's been doing that so much for after the first month of the season for a while, I don't know. But in man-to-man coverage, which they have played more of the last week or two, I think you're seeing him emerge more and more because his coverage skills show up more and more. So I think that's why his play has shot up exponentially. That plus the secondary as a whole, their play has gone up a ton. So give some credit to Aaron Glenn for putting these guys in more favorable positions, and then give some credit to the players for raising their overall abilities out there. All right, Silver Surfer, what do you got? Good day to you, Coach, and all the listeners. They just want to work Hooker in for next year and not waste him. They treat kickers like not well on this team. Silver, I hope you're doing well. And I think you're right that they saw that Badgley probably was, in their eyes, progressing higher. So that's why last week they did keep both on the roster. But the other part of it is I think you're 100% right as far as Hooker, that they're not going to keep 2 kickers. We all get that. They put him on up, and you know what? They have real interest in seeing what this kid can do. So yes, I'm with you on that one. All right, Southwest, what do you got? It will be interesting to see how well the Lion coordinators do against the Vikings coordinators. Yeah, this is going to be a big test for everybody. I think you're fully correct on that. You're going to have both guys getting tested, and that's Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Glenn, can you come up with some more things to keep the Minnesota Vikings offense off base? I mean, you've seen them struggle in recent weeks. That's why the Josh Dobbs story, while great for a while, as appears to have come to a close. The next thing is going to be, hey, Ben Johnson, you have struggled at times this year. Can you continue to show everybody your brilliance? Can you continue to show everybody that you're evolving and figuring out some of these other nuances? So you're right. I think it's going to be a tough one, or a good measuring stick. How about that? All right, Jess, what do you got? Jerome, let's see. Sutton has been great according to PFF. Yeah, the last couple weeks, yeah, his scores have gone up a ton. Trey, what do you got? What's good, all? Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you too. Jerome, hey, coach, do you think Jared Goff's stock value dropped a little bit? Maybe for the month where he was less than ideal. The Denver game, though, should have risen it. Now it's going to come down to what does he do with these last games of the season, regular season, and obviously the postseason. He continues to play anything like he did against Denver. Yeah, people are going to write off that stretch against Green Bay and Chicago and just say, hey, offensive line was beat up. You know, maybe they didn't do this or that. They'll excuse that a whole lot more. All right, Nathan, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew. Let's go, Lions. I agree with you, and good morning to you too, Nathan. John, what do you got? Greetings and salutations to all. I'm praying AG stays aggressive with the play calling. Me too, because I think keeping teams off balance, keep them all off script, that helps a ton. Boo, what do you got? Southwest makes sense. Worst of possibilities happen to Niners. Yeah, you know, I mean they crapped out on that one. I mean, they went to the table and just did nothing but lose. And the NFL has no interest in seeing that happen again on a playoff game, especially a big playoff game where the game's over because the other team just doesn't have a quarterback. All right, Jerome, what do you got? Hey, coach, do you think players and coaches are superstitious when it comes to playing and coaching? And are you? I am not. It's not my thing. To me, we're just going to come out and be more aggressive. We're going to come out and go after you. We're going to blitz. We're going to blitz some more. And we're going to do it from all sorts of different spots. And it's going to be a roll of the dice where it's going to come from at any time. Same on offense, man. I don't ever want somebody to feel like they don't have to guard part of the field. So I would think most players and coaches aren't, but I am aware there are some who are. So it just comes down to the person, I guess. So if you believe it to be true, it's probably going to be true. If you believe having that, that lucky quarter or whatever it may be is going to give you some sort of advantage, go with it, man. Because if you believe it, it's going to help you out. All right, Mike, what do you got? Sutton has been lights out all year. That's why Jacobs got toasted so much. They couldn't go to the other side. Yeah, I mean, they were picking their poison, to your point, Mike, and I do believe that Sutton, he's had some moments where he hasn't played well. I think the worst game I remember him playing would have been against the Raiders. But other than that, I don't really have any huge memory of him. Maybe you guys do, where he's just had a bad game. But to your point, yeah, anybody who could, they were targeting Jacobs and going after him because it was just a much easier matchup for him. All right, Lions fan, again, I want to see us continue to perform the way we did against Denver. I think all Lions fans would be okay with that. So yes, keep aggressive, keep assertive, keep pushing the ball, and keep going after the other team's quarterback. Southwest, this might be a good game for Lions to go use the 3-3-5 or 3-4-4. Load up the box, clog the middle of the field, and keep up with the blitzes. Yeah, I think they probably will, man. Probably 100%. Ed, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. AG made some changes to the defense, and they responded with a good game. Could you discuss those changes, and will he stick with that against Minnesota? Ed, start off with this. I believe he will. Until, I just hope he does. Just because like I've said before, I just think we're better when we're aggressive. Some of the differences. So start with the use of Melifanu. One, they used him in I'm just going to talk about the Denver game for a moment. One, they used him a ton in pass coverage, but since they also moved him over to basically playing the nickel at times, they were able to mask him a little bit more as a blitzer. So you got the offensive and defensive line. You've established he's going to be one of your two safeties. He's going to play the Walker role. And Walker, if you watch film on the Lions, you see he often is more or less being used as a linebacker on the weak side responsibilities. But what they've also done is they moved him out into the pseudo slot, move Brian Branch out wide a little bit further, and let Walker, i.e., in this case, Melifanu, go over there. So from an offensive coordinator standpoint, you're not seeing anything you haven't seen before out of Detroit. But what they have done is they've allowed him then to come out wide and blitz. The hard part for an offensive lineman or anybody trying to pick up the blitz, all right, let's say this is your tackle, and we'll just say left tackle. You're going to move him into the slot, but out wide, and that's Melifanu. When he blitzes in unexpectedly, It's just hard for an offensive lineman to go and move out that far wide and keep their balance while trying to block. Usually, someone like Melifano, who's just a much faster, more agile. That's a big ask. You're going to need somebody more like a running back to pick him up. And if that running back's on the opposite side of the quarterback or releasing, there's nobody left to pick up. And that did burn the Broncos quite a few times. The other part was you pay attention to how they looped or stunted some of their interior offensive linemen with linebackers. So some of the defensive linemen were asked to come over, but now a linebacker was spinning through or looping through to pick up, and that's something Detroit hadn't done. They had done it with defensive linemen for defensive linemen, so tackles for ends, etc. But it's a little bit more delayed. If I'm quick to make my read as an offensive lineman, say a guard or a center, hey, there's nobody here, so I'm going to quickly come over and help block over on the edge. That means that there's nobody left to pick up that linebacker, or if they see him, they're kind of off balance, they're going the wrong way, and then they're having to come back. It's just not a good way to pick up blitzers, but give Aaron Glenn credit. He schemed this up. This is something that he came up with. He caught the Broncos off guard repeatedly throughout the game. And I got to imagine, Minnesota's doing everything they can to make out some call adjustments for this, which means now you're going to test them out. You're going to come out early in the game. You're going to see if you have success with it again because Minnesota isn't prepared for it. If not, then you really need to have a counterpunch, and that's where both of these coordinators need to really evolve and grow. Somebody takes away something you're good at. What do you do to now counter that? And I'm really hopeful that Aaron Glenn has something out there. I know what I would do, but I'm not Aaron Glenn, and I'm not in that position. All right. Hopefully that answers some of your question, Ed. If you got more, fire them away, man. All right, Tess, what do you got? Greetings and salutations, all. Same to you. Hopefully you have a good one. Surfer, what do you got? Hope to see one of my favorites, James Houston, back in shape soon. That'd be a boost. I don't think they've treated him right trying to make a linebacker out of him. He's a pass rusher. Yeah, he's a pass rusher. I mean, I get they're trying to evolve him more and more. In regards to him being back, I really do think we're going to hear something this week. If not, then right after Christmas when they get back. So we'll see what shakes out. But I think he's going to be back on the field, at least the practice field, pretty quick here. All right, Southwest, what do you got? Or the Denver game proved that Lions have enough talent on the existing roster to beat anyone in the league. Their primary advantage, teams like San Francisco and Dallas have over Detroit, is experience. I would agree with that. Yeah, that we've got a overall very young team by NFL standards. So to your point, Southwest, yeah, if they continue to play anything like they did last week, they're going to be a real problem for most teams. All right, Mike, what do you got? 6:47. Just nothing time prior to the show starting. My comment is the Lions also priced me out of a season ticket holder from 2012 through 17, section 138, row 17. Seat is 440 to 989, and that's 2,800 one ticket. Yeah, I did hear that prices have gone up anywhere from like 30% to maybe even a few at 70%. So that is quite the jump. I know a few of my friends who are season ticket holders have commented about the way they'll get around it is they're going to sell. I think next year they said there's 9 Lions games at home. They're going to sell 4 or 5 of them and then go to the rest. So everybody's going to handle it differently. But I feel you, man. Those price jumps are real. All right, Jerome, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. Do the mindset changes from regular season football to playoff football? If so, what would that mean? It's just like probably any sport. When it's playoffs, it's do or die. It's the NBA's and Major League Baseball. I guess hockey too are a little bit more rare in that, if you lose one game, it's not the end of the world because you're going to play a best out of 5 or best out of 7 or whatever. NFL, though, college football, prize fighting, whatever you want to say, something like that, where it's do or die. You're going to win or you're going to go home. So the mindset does change. The amount of focus and intensity raises exponentially too, because if you're a pro athlete, you're an athlete. Let's start with this. You're an athlete of any kind of level. When it's a game, when to turn it on. Now, when you go to the college level and then again to the professional level, where now you're playing for a paycheck, your life, see your career, etc. Yeah, the intensity shoots up so much. There is a huge difference between November football, December football, and then again when you get to playoff football. The coaches feel it, the players feel it, everybody's aware of the situation. So yeah, it means that to me, the hitting is going to go through the roof. You're going to see guys get wrecked out there. You're going to see just the tone in practices changes a lot because the goofy times, the jokes, and everything, those go bye real quick. You got them earlier in the year, you got them in training camp, feel good moments and everything. But you see somebody start stepping out of line in practice, especially in NFL practice, or they're not focused or not on target, yeah, the rest of the team comes down on them pretty quick and just, it'll start off with, hey, general reminders, man, hey, it's time to dial in. This is my chance. This is my opportunity because guys are going to try to get another contract. Guys are going to try to give a reason for that team or a future team to take him. And you know what? The other part is, especially with the vets, someone like, say, Taylor Decker of Ragnow, who've been here for a moment, they know these opportunities ain't going to happen all the time, especially, you look at their career. So, yeah, they're going to be uber focused on, hey, you're not screwing this up for me. This is our chance. This is our window of opportunity. We're going to take advantage of it. You'll see a very serious tone in the locker room. All right, Boo, what do you got? I'm actually surprised that ticket prices took this long to raise. Yeah, I know that compared to most of the NFL, the Lions ticket prices are still, I mean, they're nowhere near the top of the line as far as prices. But yeah, it's NFL knows they're the number one show in town. They know people are going to pay for it. Lions fans have been salivating for something like this to happen for most of their lifetimes. Yeah, they're going to feed the supply, but they're also, like any business, they're going to raise the prices. All right, Southwest, what do you got? At this stage, I think Iffy is playing better than Kirby Joseph. I think you got an argument there. Yeah, you do. Any chance they could have Iffy, Joseph, and CG on the field at the same time? Yes, I do think they're probably looking at some of that. You could use one of these three as a blitzer, I suppose. Yeah, I think what will happen is, and this is just a guess on my part, I think you will see them out on the field together. What the formation will be, that I don't know, but I'm going to guess, if it's me, Iffy and Joseph are your back end. CJ is going to be more like what I was just describing with Tracy Walker. He's going to be picking up your slot and or playing like a weak side linebacker at times, depending on the formations. If it's first down, maybe they don't have all three out there. But if it's like second and, I don't know, 7 or something like that, I think you'll start seeing them out there because those are going to be some of your best coverage guys too. Now you added Brian Branch and Cam Sutton on top of that, you're going to have a pretty good secondary out there. All right, Mile Marker, what do you got? Good morning, crew. There goes the school bus. My warning that the show is about to start. Go Lions. Well, I'm glad we have the school bus as the official alarm clock for you, man. That's awesome. T-Born, what do you got? Goff Hooker 2024. There could probably be some T-shirts for that. Silver Surfer, how can a ticket be so expensive? How can be such a luxury to watch a doggone game? It should be a popular thing. A ticket should not exceed $100 in the best seat. How can a working class man do that? I don't know, because I know how was it? Some of the booths go for just at Ford Field, and this is last year, a year or two ago. I know they could get up to like $10,000 or something like that for them. And I've got to imagine those prices have only gone up even higher since then. So, sorry, I had to fix something on the other screen there. But anyway, yeah, it's crazy to think how much some of the seats go for. I know Kansas City, I want to say their average ticket price is something like $500. Maybe you guys are wrong. Can correct me on that, but it's people are going to be willing to pay for it. So I get it as a business. You have limited supply. You're going to try to profit from it. That on top of, $40 hot dogs. I go to a game, maybe 2 a year, and I'm okay with it at that. All right. Southwest Vilder and Dorsey played well. I'd like to see them incorporate Gilmore and Nowinski into the mix. More speed for the D. I get you on that part. Gilmore, I would just say this. They must not see enough in him to bring him up and in, because they've had every opportunity this season to do it. They just haven't done it. So why? That I don't know, but that would be my assumption, is that they just think he's still too green to bring him in. All right, Silver, what do you got? Shame on the ruling class. A worker should be able to take kids to a game without selling an organ. Yeah, I'm with you on that, because, man, if you got to take a family, like, I'm the youngest of like 1,000 kids. I'm the youngest 9, and let me tell you, there's no way Pop's mom could have done that back in the day, not at these prices. All right, Southwest Hertz is exactly lighting it up. Is not exactly lighting up for the Eagles. Yes, he's on a little bit of a struggle pattern right now. Surfer, what do you got? I am still wanting to see JMO score an 80-yard touchdown. It has been 14 weeks. I remain hopeful. It could happen. I mean, his play has gone up, I think we all know, a whole lot this year. All right, Ed, what do you got? LOL, coach. I live in Wheelock, Florida. You have trouble pronouncing it yesterday. Wheelocka. All right, okay. Sorry, yeah, and I'm probably gonna mess it up again, man. Sorry, Ed. Brett, good morning. Ridiculous the way they increased the ticket prices. Yeah, they have jumped up a Wheelocka. See what I did there? All right, Mike, looks like I will never see the Lions in person. Before, I never wanted to go, and now I can't afford to. It's cheaper to buy a big, fat, lazy boy and enjoy the game at home. Yeah, I know there was somebody I was talking to yesterday was talking about that you could get like an 80-inch screen television and watch all the games at home on that, or you go to Ford Field for a game. So yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, those prices, hey, they've gone up a bit. Michael, also was a season ticket holder. I got tired of missing a quarter to go to the restroom and the concession stand. Yeah, I get that part, man. Yeah, you really got to do everything you can to get done before the game or do it at halftime. Southwest Golf targeted JMO 7 times. That means he received nearly 20% of Goff's passes. I think that targeting JMO was a huge factor as to why others had big games. The Broncos had to account for him. Yeah, I agree with that. 100%. Yeah, and JMO, I think, is the rest of the season is just going to get more and more. All right, Don Kong, Super Bowl bust. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. I like it. Now it's a show. Let's flip and go. Yes, I get it. Yeah, we're all going to be pumped up for this weekend, man. Can you imagine when we get to the playoffs, what the week leading into the first playoff game? Can you imagine what that's going to be like on this show, man? I'm looking forward to it, man. Answer 14. Now we're talking. Good to see you, buddy. Greetings and salutations, Dan and Lions Talk Live crew. Time for a big Lions win over the Vikings. Yes, I'm one of my best friends. There's a group of us who have been real good friends forever. He is a diehard Vikings fan. So I'm anticipating having a few texts with him during the game. Hooker time. I'm all in on Goff. However, I can't stop thinking about the hooker. Yes, yeah, the hookers can affect you. And I'll say this for the coaching staff. They obviously are with you, Hooker time, that they want to take a nice, good, long look for about a month and a half here, whatever the season will end up being at a hooker. So they're going to do a deep dive into a hooker. See what I did there? All right, Ed. So I can cheer for Seahawks this or not. Man, these playoffs are exciting. Yeah, it's awesome having something to root for on a game basis. Every game, whether it's the Lions or not, you probably got a reason to root for. As far as this weekend's matchup, I'd have to look and see. I'd probably say, hey, root against them, man. Hope everybody else loses except Detroit. All right, Dan, Boo, what do you got? Dan, do you know about the St. Louis connection? JMO and Laporta? I'd heard something about they're both they have connections to that area, but other than that, I don't know anything more than that. All right, Motown Mitch, morning, everyone. Hopefully we got that O-line healthy for the rest of the way from here on out and get that number 1 seed. Yeah, it's crazy how one position really impacts the offense so much. I mean, I get it makes sense. There's one guys that are going to perform or need to perform at a high level, whether it's a run or a pass. So, yeah, keep them healthy the rest of the way and make that push, get that number 2 or number 1 seed. Derek, we're going to end up with the Rams in the first round. There's a possibility for it for sure, man. Definitely. And they're not the most ideal matchup, but if you get them, you get them. You're going to have to face everybody at some point. John, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. Good morning to you too. Hopefully you're having to do one. David, what do you got? Good morning, Dan. Will there be a banner for the team if they win the NFC North? I believe there will be. Yeah, they would raise that. I would imagine put it in the stands. So that would be something next year, maybe like the first game at home next year or something like that. Rick from Michigan, Hooker will be used like Taysom Hill to add a wrinkle to the offense. That's a possibility for sure. Definitely. Southwest, you're right, Dan. They wouldn't add Hooker to the 53-man roster unless he showed them something enough to make it worth for him to be activated. Yeah, as soon as I got the news yesterday, I mean, I didn't have time to come on. I had some coaching stuff going on, but I will say this. You're not doing that unless you believe you want to further deep dive into this kid. Hooker time. In past 30 years, I can only think of the Lions versus Packers games that determined the division back in Caldwell years as big of a game. Yeah, the Matt Flynn game, if anybody remembers that one, and how could you not if you are old enough to have been around to watch that game? But yeah, this is a huge moment for us. It's just further confirmation the direction the coaching staff and front office are taking this team. Brent, what do you got? My key matchup, Ben Johnson versus Brian Flores. How does Ben scheme against that attacking defense? I know Southwest mentioned it and a couple other people the last few days, but I'm with you guys. That's probably going to be the prime time matchup. It's whoever wins that consistently is going to have a huge advantage in this game. Ed, Brad has to showcase Hooker at some point this year so other GMs can see it. Hi. Yeah, I mean, the last game of the regular season, we've talked about it for a while now. If that game has no meaning on seeding, the division or whatever, could Hooker get out there for a half or something like that? Absolutely. And if he balls out, if he does, some real big things, I could see in the offseason the Lions getting calls, hey, is he available? And then it's going to come down to where do the Lions stand on things? Do they see Goff as the future? Where, hey, we're going to sign him for 29 years or something? Or, is Hooker somebody we're willing to part with at the right price? I don't see where they're losing in either scenario because they both benefit you. Excuse me. John, what do you got? They're probably also going to try to motivate Jared. Yes, keep him growing and keep him focused. Trey, what do you got? Rising Dan, grand rising to you too, Trey. I knew all along that Hooker is their guy. Some fans don't want to believe it, but during the draft process, they said he was their guy. It's on YouTube. Yeah, and you look at, the kid's got all the measurables. Without question. Now you add the personality component to him. I mentioned that from time to time on the show. Plus, you pay attention to the type of guys they bring in or draft, free agency or draft. He's that. He's all of that. He is a leader. He is a commander. If you guys are old enough to remember the old G.I. Joe cartoons, he's Duke. He's the guy that's leading the team. He's got that stuff in droves. So now it just comes down to, hey, how does he perform under pressure, duress? How quickly does he, pick up the offenses and stuff like that? That's just stuff that's experience-based. So they've had 21 days to get him some experience. Now they're going to have another, 4 or 5 weeks to get him more experience. So really, even though he's been gone most of the season, he's going to get something out of this rookie year, which I know was a big concern for any team that drafted him is, he's a little bit older to begin with. To me, that's less of an issue at the quarterback spot than other spots. Now you add in the layer of, even though he missed some of the year, we're going to still get quite a bit of work in with him. So I'm with you, Trey, man. This guy on paper and from what we can ascertain from his interview processes and things of that sort, he could be a real home run for this franchise. And I get we all get emotionally tied to players and whatever. That's part of being a fan. At the end of the day, though, when you're a head coach or a GM, you got to remove all those emotions. You have to say what's best for the team. And that's not always fun because you do get to know everybody. You do get to know their families, their stories, their situations. And if you do decide to move on from golf or whatever, it stinks from the humanity aspect of things. But from the coaching standpoint, if they really feel it, I'm not saying they're moving on from golf. Don't go there with that. I'm just saying at some point, if they feel like he is, an upgrade over golf and he's going to cost a whole lot less, then you have to make a business decision. And that's where it comes from. But we ain't going to probably have any of that until the offseason, though. All right, Big M, how about the Lions win something before they raise the ticket prices? They are acting like the Lions have been to the playoffs 5 years in a row. What a slap to the Lion fan that has endured everything. Yeah, I get there's some salt in the wounds for sure, Big M, with all that. The guys that have rode and died with this franchise during a lot of the grim times are probably less than excited about these ticket prices. All right, Southwest Brent, I think the coordinator matchup on both sides is going to be the key watch. Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. And I still think Hooker is trade bait. GMs need to see he is healthy. And you're 100% right. That could be a part of it. But if he goes out there, whatever, let's just say this second half of the last game of the season and just puts a ton of good things on tape, then good for the Lions if they do end up trading him, if that's where they go, because they're going to probably get far more than a third round pick is what they invested in him. If they also say, hey, man, this cat is rare. This kid is, Joe Cool. He's everything you could want. Then that also benefits us because that means that we're going to get a real good return on that third round investment. All right, Greg C. It would be amazing to see Tommy Cutlass handling those Eagles. Yeah, if he could go out there and get it done, then hey, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Michael, what do you got? If the Lions rack up the points versus the Vikings, heck, put Hooker in for a few NFL snaps, and that could happen. I think it would probably be more than likely the last game of the season, but if it happens beforehand, so be it. Eduardo, good to see you this morning. Win out, and the number 2 seed is ours. We will have all tiebreakers over Dallas and Philly. That's yeah, you're right, man. If we win out, that number 2 is ours. Hooker time. I love me some Hooker. Yes, you do, man. Yes, you do. Answer 14. The best option for the Lions to win out, and just maybe we sneak into the number 1 seed. Odds are up there, but why not? Hey, you got to have a reason to play, right, man? And if we take care of our business, that means everybody else has to take care of theirs. If they don't, they slip up, we slip in. So I'm with you on that one. Eduardo, it'll be interesting to see how Dallas plays Miami speed, as we have as much speed as they do. 100% on that. And as far as Miami, they're a real threat because of that speed. They are a matchup problem, as you guys know. Now, do we end up beating them, or excuse me, do we end up getting some help from some other teams to help us move into a higher spot? That could happen for sure. Where things are going to go, man, that's the best part of this time of the year, though, is in the past we're watching our team and it's just watching to see, hey, do we win a game or whatever? Hey, do we maybe sniff the playoffs? Well, unless something really falls apart here, we're going to make the playoffs without question this year. So now it comes down to seeding and the rooting guides. It's all the stuff we really haven't had a ton of over the years here in Detroit because we really haven't been relevant. So I'm with you, man. It's going to be fun these last 3 games, just watching us perform and then also rooting against other teams. Eduardo, as long as AG continues to disguise his schemes on Sunday, we could cause enough trouble for Mullins to get a turnover or 2 and sacks. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Southwest for AG, stay aggressive and unpredictable. Don't make it easy for Kevin O'Connell to diagnose what you're doing. I agree. Yeah, you gotta keep him guessing. Brand new, what do you got? I think the Lions would get a pick or 2 this weekend on Mullins. That'd be great for the boys. Yeah, great for confidence, great for team chemistry, great for momentum. John King, what do you got? Goff is a good quarterback, but he is not elite. He struggles to extend plays, and arm strength is in question. Hooker is a wild card at this point. Could be the next Brady. Who knows? Let's enjoy this ride. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Just don't overreact to things. Don't make a preconceived notion today what we should do. Let things play out. Do your due diligence. See how Hooker looks. Go from there. Get things ready in that aspect for next year, not this year. Rob, we could win the last 3, but beating Dallas in Dallas will be hard. I agree with that. They are a disaster. They are a vastly different team at home. Yes, I agree. Dallas is due for a home loss. I would also agree with that, Big M. Eduardo, we got our first divisional win against Minnesota. We will get our first NFC North title against Minnesota. Let's make it happen this weekend and get the drama over with. Southwest, there's more to being an elite quarterback than extending plays and having a strong arm, accuracy, and the ability to throw into tight windows. Timing, durability matters as well. They do, 100%. and let's worry about the quarterback spot. I would say, I mean, the teams are going to worry about it next year or off season. They're not going to worry about it too much now, but they are going to do their due diligence and get as many reps at developing Hooker and ascertaining his strengths and weaknesses as they can this year too. Eduardo, we really want to root for the Saints tonight too. That way, the NFC South seeds two teams into the playoffs. That's a good point there, because I think we match up pretty well with the vast majority of those teams over there. All right, one funky. There is nothing wrong with talking draft and playoffs at the same time. There's not, man. And like I said, I'll try to Friday finally get that first mock draft out to you guys. It'll be interesting to see what your guys' thoughts and feedback are on it, because I'm going in looking at our team with the mock draft, at least the first one, saying I'm not going to worry about free agency. I'm just going to worry about the draft and what we currently have and get your guys' thoughts on it. All right, Derek, what do you got? Minnesota has been imploding the last month, and I see it continuing. I'd like to see it continue 100%. Eduardo, if we went out and give Minnesota 2 losses, they won't make it in. So likely wild card teams are Rams, Green Bay, NFC South runner-up Seattle. Yeah, I think you're right. If Minnesota's put themselves in a tough spot. But you know what? I'll give them some credit for sticking around as long as they have this year with all the situations they've had at quarterback. Dr. Detroit, man, I don't know one player in this year's draft, not even at this point, and that is really different. It's a different world for Lions fans, ain't it? 100%. Steve, good morning, Coach. In the end of the Denver game, it looked like Jamo was a little gimpy after he was tackled. Is he good to go for the game against the Vikings? Yeah, he is. To your point, yeah, he was walking around. He felt that one tackle for sure, but I kept waiting to see would they put him back in on pass routes, and they did. I don't think he caught on their pass after that. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, he was out there running routes, so they're not going to put him out there running routes if he's dinged up and needing a moment. All right, Southwest, Derek, really when you look at Minnesota's season, they have had a lot of close losses, and Kevin O'Connell has done a very good job keeping the team afloat after Cousins went out. He has. Yeah, he's done a real good job with them. Steve, is signing Hooker going to affect how Goff plays? If I would hope not. If you're a starting NFL quarterback and somebody's used to pressure, it shouldn't emotionally affect him. We'll have to wait and see, but I would hope not. Eduardo, the hardest Minnesota game will be the first one when when we beat them this Sunday. They'll be playing for nothing week 18, most likely, and ready to go home. Yeah, you're correct on that. Yeah, you get this win, you remove their potential to get into the playoffs, I think. And yeah, your point, the last game of the regular season, it may not have meaning for either team. All right, Man Bears, greetings morning, Dew Crew. Good morning to you too. Jesse, hey, Coach, don't forget to check out the kid from Illinois, DT Newton. I think you're going to like Jesse, one of the guys I did target in my mock draft. But yeah, I won't spoil anything. Rob, if we are sure number 3 seed, I can see us resting our starters the final game and getting a look at Hooker. Yeah, I think you want to get Teddy Bridgewater probably some reps, whether that's for a quarter or a half, I don't know, and then open the door for Hooker for sure. That's assuming that game means nothing though. All right, Derek. Jamo needs to eat a steak. I don't think he is 200 pounds. Hopefully his frame fills out of off this off season a little bit more. Yeah, I just think some of it's just his build. It's just who he is. I can't tell you offhand what his weight is. I don't know, but hey, some guys got it lucky, man. They just don't put on weight, and kudos for him. That's something he'll probably want the rest of his life. But we'll see if they do try to beef him up a little bit. Eduardo, Minnesota's defense is susceptible to the big play and the running game. I would agree with that. Yeah, I hope the coaching staff looked at the Philly game and they can mimic some of the things they did. I'm sure they will. I mean, that's what all coaches do, right? We see something that worked against somebody, we're going to try to steal at least part of it ourselves. Eduardo, okay. Southwest, I like what the Bengals did against the Vikings defense. They were throwing downfield and they were running mostly quick hitters. Yeah, trying to keep the pressure at bay and make you pay if you commit too many guys after the quarterback. Eduardo, on Sunday, Gibbs will have a going ahead touchdown and Hutchinson will have a game-ending sack. I'm okay with that. Big time. Southwest, it's here on fire time for the Vikings versus Lions. Detroit needs to match their level of urgency. Yeah, because Minnesota's going to be playing for their lives. I get you there. Ryan, replacing Goff with Hooker is a mistake. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying they definitely have a reason for bringing him up to the active roster. They want to take a deeper, longer look at him. Like some of the people have said in the comments section, is that for potential trades, or they view Hooker as a possible heir apparent to Goff? That we have to wait and see. Big M, Derek, what do you got? Just curious, why would you want to add weight on him and possibly take away from his elite speed? Randy Moss was pretty thin and did pretty good. Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens, but I'm not sure they're going to try to change his body other than just natural growth, strength, stuff like that. That happens with all the players. Dr. Detroit, Hooker activated. Yes, he is. The Hookers are alive in Detroit. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Hooker sales, jersey sales, especially if he plays the last game of the regular season and looks good in it. Eduardo, on Sunday, we need to use Minnesota's aggressiveness on defense against them with our speed. And definitely we are where the blitz is coming from and attack. Yeah, usually one of the rules is you identify where the blitzer is coming from and you throw to that spot because you have a vacated spot. So yeah, Eduardo, you're right. If they can figure out where it's coming from and throw into that spot, they got a potential to hit some big plays. Dr. Detroit, Moss was 6'5". Yeah, I knew where you were going with that. Moss was a big target. Dominic, what do you got? Greeting, good morning from Texas. 13-5, number 2 seed with San Francisco lost. Let's go Lions. I'd take that. Don, bang, bang, Lions gang. All right, I like it. Don is in the house. Donnie Burr, everybody. Eduardo, it'll be a tough for Jared Goff to throw 3+ TDs because they are a running team with most times once we get into the red zone, we run. Yes, Eduardo, you're right that last weekend was a bit of an anomaly, but could it happen again? Sure, 100%. Dr. Detroit, Don B, yes, Don B is in the house. Frank, good morning. Hard at work. We'll listen later. Pass on first down. I like the way you're thinking. Yeah, don't come out running every first down. Come out passing, play action. Southwest having Hooker on the roster didn't mean Goff is going to be replaced. I think what it does mean is Lions might actually have a decent backup QB and an emergency starter if Goff gets hurt. Yeah, 100%. They aren't replacing Goff maybe in 2 years or so. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, right now, only they know their plan, but they're definitely going to take a deeper look at Hooker. All right, Dr. D, yes. Big M, Moss was 6'4". Yeah, he's a big dude. Yep, typo, fat fingers. It happens, man. Southwest, I hope AG, Ben Johnson, position coaches, and the players are looking at the tape, examining Vikings' tendencies offensively and defensively. 100% they do. Yeah, they make a living out of doing those things. Here's Philin. What do you got? J-Mo was a gunner at Bama. He's fine at his weight. Yeah, he can go and he can take a hit. Eduardo, we are the second most physical team in the NFC. As long as we play our game and not fold, we can go into the title game. I believe we are 49ers light. All right, I'm down with that. Trey, Cam Sutton is okay. He was getting torched by DK and Tyler Lockett this year. Yeah, he does. I think most of our DBs seem to struggle against the bigger, more physical receivers just because we don't have great size at cornerback. Hooker time. It's been said many times that at least 16 teams would love to have Goff, then trade him in the offseason for a high draft pick. Hooker 2024 draft in Detroit this year. We'll see what shakes out. We'll see what happens in the offseason. Big M, totally agree with you. Okay. Eduardo, at this point, the race to get the second quarter, at this point, the race is to get to the second quarter. Once we get there, it's like our entire team turns it on. Same for the fourth quarter. Yeah, there's definitely a tendency there. I agree with you, Eduardo. Don Kong, just win, baby. Just win. I like the way you're thinking. Eduardo, in my opinion, Ben wants to see how they are playing us, and then he adjusts from there. Yeah, I just hope him and AG learn to make adjustments a little bit quicker, but that comes with experience. All right, Southwest Badgley doesn't really have a stronger leg than Patterson, right? I believe he does. Now, does he have a cannon from 60 yards? No, but Patterson really seems to hit a wall right around 45 yards. So for whatever reason, his accuracy just goes down significantly at that point. Badgley, I just think I don't mean this to sound funny, but I think his accuracy is what is. Whether it's 40 yards, 50 yards, he can boot it. He can boot it for, I'd say, up to 55, 56 yards. His accuracy is, it's not elite, but it's not bad. And I think that's kind of where they're at with things. Patterson's accuracy inside 45 yards, I think, other than extra point, it's pretty good. But yeah, he just doesn't have a howitzer cannon for a leg. All right, Eduardo Ragnow helps picking up the blitzes. He does. He's very good at what he does. Hooker time. Usually the draft is our Super Bowl. This is such a different feel. Thinking about a real Super Bowl for us. Yeah, can you imagine what it'd be like if we make the Super Bowl? It'll be fun, man. It will be fun. Eduardo, the 2 iffy blitzes, we didn't look like we were going to blitz and need to continue that stuff like that. Yeah, they disguised it very well. And one of the bigger tells or giveaways, unfortunately, for most DBs when they blitz is they start creeping their head to the side looking at the quarterback. They're trying to get a jump on that snap as well because they typically have to cover more ground. You go back and watch Iffy, his head stays straight ahead. So what I'm anticipating that means is the coaches have worked with him and probably other DBs. Don't tilt your head, tilt your eyes. The only person who can now see him is that receiver or tight end who's lined up directly across from him. But if you can learn to use your peripheral vision instead of using your neck to get that view, it helps disguise it a whole lot more for a blitzer, especially someone out wide. All right, Southwest. I think Jared Goff understands that to keep that core intact, he's going to have to take less than top dollar. He needs a strong supporting cast as virtually as any quarterback does to be successful. Yeah, I would agree with you that he's not gonna, if he wants to keep the team around him, he's not going to be able to go for 50 million. So we'll see what all shakes out in the offseason. All right, Derek, what do you got? The biggest difference last week for our defense was Bags and Pascal. Yeah, Pascal played one of his best games in a Detroit uniform, and it was under the radar. Yeah, he played pretty well. And to your point, he probably didn't get a lot of press about it. And Bugs does make a difference for this team. Big M, Lions need to lock up the division this Sunday. Yeah, I agree. Don't drag it out. Do everything you can to win at all costs this weekend, because from there, everything you get is gravy, and you do remove a lot of importance from that last game of the regular season. All right, Eduardo, every time we move Hutch around, there is success, but we do it like once or twice a drive. Yeah, they need to go back to like last year's schematics and get him moving around every snap if possible. Trump, run the ball, stop the run. I like the way you're thinking. Southwest, Derek, you're absolutely right. And the fact is, when Bugs is in that field, more often than not, the Lions defense plays a lot better. I agree with that. I'll fully agree with that. Eduardo, Minnesota's interior line at right are weaknesses. Yeah, it's not the strength of their team. They're not bad, but that's by no means their strength. Dr. Troy, my seats started at 2,500. Now they're 3,700. Yes, you might have to cut back on your Mountain Dew for the year in order to offset those price differences because, yeah, they did jump. Trump's genius. I would rather watch the game from the comfort of my home. I'm with you more and more as I'm getting older. Yeah, I'm okay with watching. I don't mind going once or twice a year, but not every home game, at least for me. It's just there's too much of a drive for me, and it eats up so much of the day. Yeah. Plus, it makes it hard to do Lions Talk Live, right? All right, Dr. Troy, everyone wants to be able to sell them. Yeah. Everybody's not going to be able to sell them. So we'll see what happens. But I guess some people have a plan. Let them go with their plan. All right, Dr. Troy, 37 times 4, man, that is too much. It is a costly experience. Big M Moss was still 215 pounds. J-Mo looks like a high school kid out there. Trey 3 Hill has added 15 to 20 pounds since playing in the NFL and has no problem with the weight. Yeah, and he'll probably, just because his age, his body type, he's probably going to add some pounds. How much, that I don't know, but he's going to add some muscle mass, I would anticipate. All right, Big M, I agree also. It is the key that the defensive tackle gets to push in the middle, disrupts the play. Don Burr, some of these questions are hilarious. Well, I'm glad everybody's liking them. Steve-O, Dr. Detroit, I guess winning costs, but they're better but ready to spend more money on free agents now. In the playoffs, teams try new things, both sides of the ball. They do. Yeah, they've been holding out on some stuff just to unleash it in the playoffs. All right, a couple more here, and then it's due time for me. Yeah, Rod Wood is a clown. They jumped over last season by 400 a ticket. It's now like 1,400 a ticket. It's ridiculous. Eduardo, if in the NFL, usually a playoff game is decided by who makes the most out of the other team's mistakes. San Francisco excels at capitalizing on others' mistakes. They do. Steve-O, what do you got? The 1 year of winning doesn't really make up for 60 years of losing. No, it does not. Dr. Detroit, that's my point. Win something and bring the price up incrementally. Yes, I agree. I think they're kind of jumping the cart here a little bit. Trump got to pay those $1 million contracts. They do. And that's that and the, like I said, the $40 hot dog. I'll stick to my hot dog from the Circle K. Derek, what do you got? I see your point, but JMO is built differently. He is a burner and would hate to see him lose that elite speed. 4 tickets, 10K for 4 tickets is a lot. 14K is a joke. Yes, the ticket prices have gone up. Eduardo Iffy being a former corner helps him in covering. Dude be killing it, and he's fast. Yeah, his size, his length, his speed, they're all coming into play. That junk 600, okay. Rob, if he plays great, but can't count on him staying healthy. Glad CJ is returning. Yeah, that's been the one knock on Iffy is just, can he stay healthy? All right, guys, the dew is calling me. Plus, I got to get ready for work. So I hope you all having a great day. Hope you have a great day. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We need about 80 more subs to hit the 4,900 mark. If we can do that before this weekend's game, I surely would be thankful. Take care. Enjoy your day. Hit that thumbs up button. If there's some breaking news, I'll hop on the mic later today, and I'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.